Most people assume intelligence is loud, obvious, and constantly demonstrated. In reality, highly intelligent individuals tend to reveal themselves through subtle behavioral patterns that many overlook. These traits are easy to miss because they challenge the common idea of what smart looks like. In psychology and social behavior research, intelligence is less about accumulated knowledge and more about how a person interprets information, navigates ambiguity, and adapts in social contexts. These traits quietly shape relationships, decision-making, and identity. They create advantages in life, yet also introduce social misunderstandings, because not everyone processes the world with the same level of cognitive complexity. 1. Strategic restraint. Highly intelligent people often hold back instead of speaking first. They observe before contributing. This behavior reflects cognitive patience and information gathering. Socially, restraint can be misread as disinterest or silence. In reality, these individuals wait until their contribution adds value. If you relate, you may notice you prefer accuracy over visibility. 2. Sensitivity to subtext. They pay attention to what is implied rather than only what is said. Psychologically, this involves higher contextual awareness and pattern detection. Many misinterpret this as overthinking or being too analytical, but it is simply a form of cognitive depth. If you relate, you likely detect shifts in tone or intent before others notice. 3. Self-correction. Intelligent individuals revise their beliefs when new evidence appears. This reflects cognitive flexibility and low ego attachment to prior opinions. Socially, this can be misunderstood as indecisiveness. Yet, self-correction is a sign of mental strength rather than insecurity. If you relate, you probably adapt quickly when presented with better data. 4. Intellectual modesty. The more someone learns, the more aware they become of what they do not know. This cognitive awareness reduces false confidence. However, society often rewards boldness over accuracy, causing modesty to be misinterpreted as lack of capability. If you relate, you may feel others overestimate their expertise while you quietly evaluate your own limits. 5. Long attention span. Highly intelligent individuals can remain focused on a single idea for extended periods. Psychologically, this involves intrinsic motivation and deep processing rather than fast stimulation. To others, this may appear obsessive or overly intense. If you relate, you likely immerse yourself in topics until they are thoroughly understood. 6. Discomfort with social superficiality. They struggle with conversations lacking substance. This is driven by a desire for signal-rich information rather than social noise. Others may perceive this as aloofness or lack of interest in socializing. If you relate, superficial interactions feel draining rather than energizing. 7. Preference for solitude. Solitude allows cognitive organization and uninterrupted thinking. Psychologically, this behavior protects mental resources. Socially, it can be misread as antisocial tendencies. If you relate, you likely feel more restored after time alone rather than constantly surrounded by others. 8. High internal standards. Highly intelligent people often hold themselves to criteria they rarely project onto others. This reflects internal regulation rather than external comparison. It can be misunderstood as perfectionism. If you relate, you may notice you critique your own performance more intensely than anyone else does. 9. Emotional and cognitive separation. They differentiate what they feel from what they know. This separation allows clearer judgment and delayed reactions. Others may label this as being detached. If you relate, you likely slow down your responses to prevent emotional noise from distorting reasoning. 10. Curiosity about causes, not events. Highly intelligent individuals ask why something happens rather than just what happened. This indicates systematic thinking and interest in underlying mechanisms. Many perceive this as unnecessary complexity. If you relate, you probably analyze root causes long after others have moved on. In the end, these traits raise a quiet question. Do you recognize yourself in any of them, or have you been surrounded by people who never noticed? Most people navigate life with surface-level interpretations. A smaller group processes the world with more depth, patience, and precision. The difference becomes visible only to those willing to look inward.